Rusty, especially Darby. You know that.
It's not what you know, Clyde. It's what you can prove in court.
Steph, we're talking about Deshaun Watson because a Houston attorney now says 6 women are suing the Houston Texans quarterback alleging assault. In an Instagram post last night, Tony Busby announced that he's filing a 3rd lawsuit, what he calls the most egregious to date, and says 3 more are coming. So here's what we know. The women are referred to as Jane Doe in the documents, and they're licensed massage therapists. One woman claims her encounter with Watson happened at her home last March. The 2nd lawsuit claims last August Watson paid to have a masseuse fly from Atlanta to Houston to give him a massage at the Houstonian Hotel. In both cases, the women claim Watson made inappropriate demands of a sexual nature. So back to Busby's latest Instagram post. There's a lot here, but Busby addresses accusations he's only taking these cases for headlines or money. He says he doesn't need fame, and if he never made another penny, he would be quite okay. So really emphasizing this isn't about the money. Well, that's not what Watson says. In his statement, he accuses Busby of demanding a 6-figure settlement that he rejected. Watson also insists he's never treated any woman with anything other than the utmost respect, and he looks forward to clearing his name.
Brandy, this whole story really sent Texans fans into a spin this morning, and some even pointing out Busby's connection to the team's owner.
Yeah, so NFL writer Charles Robinson kind of sums that up, tweeting that Busby has a layered resume as a failed mayoral candidate who files big lawsuits and once referred to late Texans owner Bob McNair as my neighbor. Well, that stems from this Busby post when he put up billboards around Houston asking my neighbor, Mr. McNair, to draft Johnny Manziel. So a whole lot here, Xavier. It feels like we're going to be hearing about it for quite a while.
It's always the individuals that have enough money put away. They have enough money put up in investments, and they have enough money. They live their life. They have private jets, private boats, private yachts. They go to these fancy parties and situations like that want to say that if they don't make another penny, they'll be okay. But let me know a lawyer that gets into the business because they have good morals and a spine. Usually it's the lawyers that are a prosecutor and then they cross over to become a lawyer. Those are the lawyers that you want on your side. That's exactly who Deshaun Watson has on his side and Rusty Harden. I'm going to get to that later in the video. But right now we have this individual right here, Tony Busby, who wants to be all over the media, wants to have news conferences. He wants to post pictures and long captions on his Instagram. He wants to turn the comments off because he already knows what time it is, dude. This is fishy. How can you call somebody your neighbor in tweets? How are we not viewing that as a conflict of interest? We don't view that as shady. We already know lawyers are shady. A lot of lawyers are scumbags. A lot of lawyers overcharge you. A lot of lawyers obviously are in it for the money. An individual could get arrested for some weed charges and whatnot, and they'll charge you $1,500 for something that you could have did on your own, something that you could have did with a public defender. Don't talk to me about if you don't make another penny, if you have morals and value. I don't want to hear none of that. Right here, he popped a question to this individual. Her name is Frances Moody. Everybody remember that name because we're going to get right to her in my next slide. But this dude, he's calling Bob McNair his quote-unquote neighbor. He's putting up billboards for him to draft Johnny Manziel. But nobody's talking about that's a conflict of interest. You could look it up, public information. This man could moonwalk to the McNair's residence if he wanted to. That's how close he lives, in the proximity of each other, bruh. They always try to tear down a so-called black man whenever he, quote-unquote, ruffles feathers, he oversteps, whenever he tries to stand up for himself. What happened with AB last year when they tried to say that he raped his personal trainer or something like that? He didn't get any time, but that's long forgotten now that he got his Super Bowl. Whenever it is a so-called black man, they want to drag you through the mud. They want to keep you in your place because they don't want you to influence the masses because they know how much influence you have. They don't want you to wake up, brothers, across the globe, across the country, wherever you are. They want to keep you in your place. So you mean to tell me that women go through these things and they're going to wait a whole year and some change to bring this thing up? It all comes up like a domino effect. One girl comes, then here comes 5 others. Here comes another. Dude, it doesn't make sense. Somebody make it make sense to me. Now check this out, because we're living in a land right now where the woman is ruling over the man. You cannot believe a man over a woman. You're guilty until proven innocent. We're taking the woman's word over anything, dude. Look what happened to Johnny Depp. Come on, dude. It's a battle if you're a man in this world. That's why they're trying to cause this great divide between men and women. But that's on another scale. But right now, you want to talk about how Deshaun Watson, he wants out of Houston. But they just allowed J.J. Watt to get released and go to Arizona like it's nothing. But we want to talk about conflict of interest and shit. Remember I told you that his wife's name is Frances Moody. Look who she's in this picture with. Guest cheer on Derby winner for a good cause at inaugural hats, hearts, and horseshoes party and whatnot. Look who's to the left. Anna McNair. That is the grandchild of Bob McNair. Remember what that man said a long time ago when everybody wanted to protest DeAndre Hopkins had a problem with the Houston Texans or whatever. He said we can't allow inmates to run the asylum. Nobody really liked that comment. But you have his wife taking pictures with the grandchild of the late owner who just died not too long ago. That is not a conflict of interest. You mean to tell me all these bona fide beta males that get swindled by they females that come in the bedroom and tell them, honey, can you do this for me? Or can you do me a favor? Da 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 da. You mean to tell me that there's no pillow talking going on? This doesn't sound fishy to you? These men that make multi-million dollars that could get any woman that they want, that could get any woman to do whatever they want. Just like these dudes have multi-million dollars, the people they work for have billions of dollars, and they could get any low-level broad to come out of the woodworks to say anything for a piece of change, man. Look what girls are doing on websites for less. So just imagine they could throw a girl a couple grand just to say that this dude sexually assaulted them, man. Make it make sense. And I just try to sit back and remember if there was this much media coverage when Chad Wheeler beat the shit out of his so-called black girlfriend. Was everybody up in arms then? It doesn't matter if he's a star player. Doesn't matter if he's a bench player. Doesn't matter if he's a restricted free agent or whatnot. He still represents the NFL at the end of the day. I don't think there was this amount of coverage on it. Everybody wanted to wait until the word. Everybody wanted to wait until the final reports and whatnot. But as soon as it's some quote unquote sexual misconduct and whatnot coming from girls who are coming up as Jane Doe 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 all the way to 15, everybody wants to throw this man in a slammer. Meanwhile, it's not even a criminal case. They're coming out for a civil suit. Does that even make sense? If your daughter got sexually assaulted, would you want her to be going for money or would you want her to be going for justice? Make it make sense, man. I'm asking for a friend. You got all these people that want to settle for money, but that's not justice. That means you're a bloodsucker. That means you want to settle for cash. Make it make sense, man. You want it to go away. You got a man that's talking about he's not happy in his situation. He's not happy in the workplace. They're not involving him in big decisions. They're not going anywhere. He wants out. He's even willing to sit out. But they want to sabotage this man's character so bad that nobody else will want him. They saying, screw you. We not going to trade you. Or if that's the case, I guess we'll just trade you from bottom dollar. Because look what they did with DeAndre Hopkins. Traded him for David Johnson, who's a bum now. Not to digress. But just like I said, you have these dudes who are the real movers and shakers that nobody talks about. You have all these puppets that you see as entertainers and musicians, rappers or whatever, ball players. And everybody gets up in arms and mad at them talking about you make this much money. Why are you putting yourself in this situation? Dude, these men can get anybody they want, bro. You got to understand, even the most Caucasian redneck will watch one of these athletes bulldoze his wife just cuz. Y'all got to really understand this shit, man. They always come through with some bogus story from left field to sabotage a man's character, and everybody goes with it because society has brainwashed everybody into believing woman over man. They believe in women before they even know the details of a case. They don't even know who the women are. They're going by Jane Doe. They're trying to tell this man to sit in your place. You're just a little boy. Who are you to demand anything? You're a nobody. We're paying you pennies on the dollar. You should enjoy that. We took you from the slums. You should enjoy that. You mean to tell me this man that played in Clemson to now, you haven't heard a damn thing about him, bro. Just check into this next video of the mindset of the liberal female and why everybody wants to believe that you're guilty until you're proven innocent. Can't stand this broad.
Pertaining to the league's personal conduct policy, and the Texans said in a statement that they would stay in close contact with the NFL during its investigation. Stephen A., before I kick things off to you, let me just say this quickly here.
Sure.
So I've been in sports since 2006. Before I came to ESPN, I don't know, I've been here 5 or 6 years now. I was at NFL Network for about 4 years. Huge NFL fan, followed it very closely all along. Mm-hmm. Given the seriousness and quantity of these allegations, we're talking 14 lawsuits, 24 total claims, we're only 10 days in. I personally, as a woman, would like to hear more from the NFL. The matter is under review is just simply not enough. I understand it is too early for findings. I understand there's a process, but based on the history, you need to show us that there's a real process taking place, a real investigation, some transparency, that you take these matters seriously. We've discussed this before. 6 years ago, the NFL brought in Lisa Friel and other women and created a committee. I mean, are these just talking points, or are these actual resources to address this behavior? This happened after the NFL failed women with the Ray Rice situation. So we have an opportunity here to be proactive rather than reactionary. And that's been the knock against the NFL. You can get in front of it, you can acknowledge it, you can condemn the behavior, and you can address it. And I want to take it one step further, and then obviously want you guys to react and what you think the NFL should do here. If I'm also the NFL, I'm putting Deshaun Watson on the commissioner's exempt list. I look at it this way. He's getting protected. He's getting paid, but he needs to lay low, and they need to deal with this. And when and if his name is cleared, then he can return. But when I'm saying 24 total claims against him, you can't have this man on a football field right now. Max, if this was you or this was you, Stephen A., you wouldn't be on First Take today. So address it. He can continue to get paid, and he can return when he clears his name. Again, an opportunity for the NFL to show that they respect women, they protect women. 47% of the NFL audience, that's nearly half, is women. So we support you, and we need to know that you support us.
You see, the problem that we're going to have with these womanists, that's basically another code word for feminists, is that they're going to always side with the woman's side. It doesn't matter how many times that these women get called out for lying, get caught out for trying to sabotage a man's career just because they try to get some cash on the side. It doesn't matter how many times these situations are going to go down. They are going to always side with the woman. They don't want to go about due process. It's all about the perception. It's all about my bias because I'm a woman. I want to put myself in those shoes and imagine how I feel. I wouldn't want people to believe me. But these people are not even coming out with their name. They're Jane Does. They don't even have screenshots and whatnot. We don't know what they have. We don't know who they are. We don't know where the hell they came from. When you have these womanists, aka feminists, that don't even want to take the last name of their husbands, how can we take them serious? That's not your last name. That's your father's last name. You're basically your father's quote-unquote property. That's why your father walks you down the aisle and hands you over to your husband. But when you have a husband like Jalen Rose, who has no backbone, who has no spine like the rest of the individuals that work for ESPN, how can we take anybody over there serious? Nobody watches First Take to hear what Molly Qerim thinks. Nobody gives a damn about your opinion. Nobody wants to watch First Take to hear Stephen A. rant. Nobody wants to watch Max Kellerman portray the image of a younger Skip Bayless. Nobody gives a damn about that. That whole outlook, that whole baseless, that whole lack of substance approach that y'all take to this First Take show is corny and is played out. It's outdated. Y'all need to step y'all game up because nobody is really watching ESPN anymore. It's all about Disney. It's all about this entertainment. It's all about this liberal-sided shit that nobody really wants to listen to, bro. When people want to listen to sports talk, they don't want to hear politics involved in it. It's so tired, bro. Tiger Woods hurt his leg the other day, and y'all was talking about the man like he damn near, like he died, bro. Meanwhile, the Federal Reserve was paused, but nobody wants to talk about that. Not to digress. When you talk about these feminists, when you're having discussions with these feminists, it's all about the perception and it's all about the bias. It's all about what it looks like from the outside in. It doesn't matter about the due process of things. It doesn't matter about the statistics. It doesn't matter about the facts. All that matters is my emotions, how I feel about these things, how I think about it, how it looks to me. What does that really matter when we're talking about logic, when we're talking about the facts, when we're talking about a case, bro? It really doesn't matter, man. Y'all remember when this broad said, hey, LeVar, can we switch gears for a minute? Then LeVar said, I could switch gears with you anytime, or you can switch gears with me anytime. She made a crazy face because her head is in the gutter. LeVar has a wife. He's definitely aware that you have a husband who has no spine, but he's not making a pass towards you. But because of that, we haven't seen LeVar on ESPN. And that's partially the reason why your ratings are dropping in the first place. Because all y'all did was all that liberal nonsense last year, talking about President Trump, talking about kneeling, all these things that nobody wants to hear. Your ratings are in the gutter. Y'all need to figure something out because all of your talk points are baseless. Everything lacks substance. Nobody gives a damn about how you feel. Busby, he's making all these noises, press conferences. He wants all the attention. He wanted to run for mayor. He's basically, he was a politician in training, so you really can't even trust that, bro. But Rusty Hardin, he's known, he's a high profile attorney. He handled multiple cases with athletes, but he's best known for this case with this individual, what's his name? He was a billionaire, J. Howard Marshall. He was married to Anna Nicole Smith. Basically, the situation was Anna Nicole Smith married him 14 months before his death. Y'all remember that show Snapped, where all these wives were always getting arrested because they would kill their husbands, all because of like some life insurance or something like that, not to digress. But basically this dude, Rusty Hardin, who's a cold individual, laid back flow, and he's going to ask the questions that's going to hurt. He basically asks Anna Nicole Smith, he goes, Mrs. Marshall, have you been taking new acting lessons? And basically, just like the liberal, she grabs tissue trying to gain some sympathy. She goes, screw you, Rusty. He won that case. He does not play around. He represented Roger Clemens, got him acquitted. Remember from those steroid issues? He represented James Harden. He represented Michael Bennett. Remember when Michael Bennett was accused of pushing that woman in a wheelchair? Charges dismissed. Calvin Murphy was accused of sexually abusing 5 of his 10 daughters. Case dismissed. Remember when Adrian Peterson was dragged through the mud for abusing his child, quote unquote? He pays a fine, 80 hours of community service. This dude does not play around. Warren Moon on the domestic violence case against his ex-wife. Case dismissed. So y'all really got to take everything with a grain of salt and understand who's making the most noise and who's really making moves behind the curtain. Because everybody is not really in it for your best interest. They want you brainwashed. They want you out here like the Walking Dead, like a bunch of zombies, lost sheep, man. Y'all really have to use y'all mind. Y'all have a mind for a reason. And y'all really have to understand that everything is not what it seems to be. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Holla.
Go ahead,
LeVar,
before I
have
get
a
back to him.
LeVar, can I switch gears with you because I have a question
You
here.
can switch gears with me anytime.
Let's stay focused here.
Go ahead.
All right.